Hello, this is an email from somebody who did not leave their name. I recently wanted to contact you about certain behaviours I've been experiencing over the past year. I'm still very sure it isn't a form of anorexia, but it does involve weird habits. I lost weight earlier this year due to a sad time in my life and became kind of addicted to the weight loss. I'm not sure if I wanted control over something in my life as everything else just felt out of it. However, I'm now seeing a nurse about this, and we often talk about my life over the past year and how it has been and how I feel now, especially when I'm trying to gain weight. She explained how my body may now be in starvation mode, provided a meal plan, and to help me decide the type of foods and amounts I should be having at meals. However, I don't always follow it and know I can try harder to reach the amount of calories, but then I often don't make it to that. I'm not sure why that is. My parents and family get so angry at me and assume I need help. However, there is something holding me back. I lost weight about 2 years ago and gained it all back as I couldn't stop eating in the nights and a lot of food when trying and attempting to eat healthy in the days. This was a horrible time in my life. I was never severely underweight, but now I'm back as I am now. But now I am back to being skinny. I feel like I just want to lose this control, and I'm craving, and I want my appetite and cravings back, etc., so I can enjoy these things again. I don't get my period, but I used to eat loads before that, and I miss the times when I'd feel like I wanted to eat everything in sight, as now I don't get any of that feeling or any of the cravings. But I do look forward to meals and eating, which is strange. I can never make a decision and never know what I want to eat when it comes to food. I need help with this desperately. It's affecting my life a lot and my family. My nurse said that whenever I don't know what to have, to follow the meal plan. I don't want to do that either. I want to be able to know what I fancy and what I want. Also, another weird behaviour I have is that I watch other people eat, especially as my mum, as I live with her. She knows about this and gets wound up with me when I get annoyed if she wastes or doesn't have what I want to have, and I often want her to have the same thing, often in the afternoon for snacks and teas, as I'm with her in the day then too. I don't tend to follow the meal plan at all when I'm with her. She tries her best to get my intake up, but I just want the same as we share the same meals and meal times. So I want to be hungry at the same time, which seems strange, but I can't help it. Any advice on this, as I can't distance myself as I live here and I simply can't get away. Also, I find that if she does not want something such as a nice dessert, then I feel that I can't have it either. And if I do want to have dessert, then it's something rubbish like yogurt or something, and I feel that I should have, as why can I enjoy a nice sugary dessert on my own when she's not? So strange. I also feel that I can't eat loads more than other people, as I won't be hungry when they are hungry. It's a horrible feeling and thinking this way, and I have absolutely no idea why I do a lot of these behaviours, as it's not normal and I'm aware, but I want to change, and whenever I say I will, it doesn't work or go ahead. I drink Ensure shakes with my breakfast at night as an evening snack, and each drink has blah 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 calories and a boost with more adjustments to my diet. Please can you help me let go of watching and copying other people and feeling that I can't have different or nice things on my own. I also don't want to see my friends anymore, but similar reasons. I often don't want to have the correct amounts in meals such as lunch and snacks around dinner time, and at lunchtime I want to be hungry, but I know I shouldn't be hungry and should just eat more in snacks. But something's holding me back and I need help to overcome this. Also, when will I start to feel hungrier more often? And when will things such as thinking about food and planning all my meals and worrying about what I should have go away? Because there are other behaviours that I do and do not like doing them. Whew! That was a lot, wasn't it? All right. Well, there were quite a few questions in there, and all of them come with the same answer. You need to get out of energy deficit and you need to start recovery, because you have an eating disorder. So it's all going round in circles, and what you're doing is you're focusing on, I don't like the fact that I'm obsessed with what other people eat, and I get freaked out if other people are eating less than me and I want to eat and someone else doesn't eat, and you're sort of wondering, well, how can I stop doing that thing? Your brain's doing that thing because your brain thinks that food is scarce, and so your brain has developed a hyper awareness around food, And your eating disorder brain, which thinks you should be migrating, is like, well, if I am eating more than this other person, then I'm going to get left behind in this migration thing. I know it doesn't make logical sense, but for your brainstem, survival brain area, it does make sense. And so you just, all of these things, all these little behaviors that seem to you, this is just this weird thing. Why is my brain doing this? Your brain is doing this because your brain thinks that food is scarce and it's gone into migration mode. And the way to get your brain out of being hyper aware and obsessive around food is to get out of migration mode, is to get out of energy deficit. In order to do that, you need to eat a lot of food. And all of things like feeling hungry, cravings, all of that stuff, things that you would consider to be normal, that you've noticed are abnormal, will be normal again when you are no longer in energy deficit. So that's got to be your main focus, is actually recovering. And I don't think in a YouTube video I'm going to go start to finish. I will say, though, two main things for full recovery is nutritional rehabilitation plus neuro rewiring. Nutritional rehabilitation is the process of getting yourself out of energy deficit. So not being at a suppressed body weight anymore, because you are at a suppressed body weight. And nutritional rehabilitation is wonderful and complicated, and it isn't quite as simple as just gaining weight. It's usually actually gaining weight and continuing to eat a load of food as you move out of what I call energy debt as well, which is what you have accumulated for the amount of time, over the amount of time that you have been in energy deficit, you will have accumulated energy debt. The second part of this is neuro rewiring. So as you've had an eating disorder and as you've been restricting food and doing whatever other behaviors that you've been doing, your brain has been setting up neural pathways, learned patterns of behavior, thought patterns, and emotional reactions. And every time you do these things, you strengthen those neural pathways. So you need to teach your brain that it doesn't have to act this way. You have to unlearn the learned behavior that that have developed while you've had an eating disorder. An example of that from your email is when you know that you want a sticky toffee pudding dessert and your mum doesn't have one. Your brain says you shouldn't have one, and that's a learned behavior at this point because you haven't been having one. So the way that you rewire that is you make yourself eat the damn sticky toffee pudding, especially if your mum's not having it. You force yourself to have what you really wanted, which, as you said, is not a yogurt. It's the sweet, sugary dessert type things. That's an example of neuro rewiring. So I hope that helps. I did write a whole book that's about that thick on all of these things, which will probably help even more. But you could also just look through the YouTube videos and you will probably find a lot of answers to your questions on nutritional rehabilitation and neuro rewiring. I think I can confirm, having not even met you, just having read that rather long email, that you do have restrictive eating disorder and you do need to properly go into recovery. And if the nurse that's helping you, who may not be an eating disorder professional, isn't quite enough, seek help that is enough. Help that helps.